Jose podcast. This is the morning dump. It's actually April 1st. I'm your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, Rice. She's a sweet little lady. She has another sister who looks just like her, who's little, and since that one's called Sushi, I might bring her tomorrow. This was the more fuzzy of the two, so a lot of people always ask, are they actually truly hairless Sphinx? Not necessarily, they're actually basically never truly hairless, but there's levels of fuzz. You can see here, look at this cute little face, you can see how fuzzy it is, the fuzzy ears, the fuzzy paws. I'll probably bring you the other one, probably bring in Sushi tomorrow so you can see the difference. But that's the kitty there. She's a sweet little lady. She's one of the sweeter of the litter. She just likes to chill and cuddle. For a kitty, that's pretty good. But now for those who like seeing my hot takes, Monday through Friday, we try to shoot for around 11 a.m. Eastern. We hardly ever make the time. Maybe when we get back in the summer, we'll get back into regular swing of things when things are less crazy. Or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you can see when we're going live and when we drop new videos. We'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing, right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
I'm getting people saying I'm having weird audio stuff. Let me know, what's going on, guys? Is the audio still being goofy? I don't really see any reason why it should be. Maybe I'll just disconnect the audio and reconnect it, see if it makes a difference. Let me know. I see a bunch of y'all saying that, so just waiting for the feedback for y'all. If we gotta nix it for today, I guess we'll do it. It's annoying after spending an hour setting things up. So still really bad. Can you hear me at all? Is it like really rough? Let's try this. Let me try a few other things, because I'm sure. Let's try this.
All right, how's it sounding now? Is anything better? Because it's all sounded fine on my side of things. So muted now? Am I still muted? No. Oh, perfect now. Okay, cool. Well, whatever was the problem was fixed, and all I did was disconnect it and reconnect it. So thanks, computer feds. Completely threw off the flow of things. Sorry if you're listening to this back later. Hey, it is what it is. These are the cons of going live. So whatever. Oh well, we're okay. We'll abide. We have plenty to go through today. For the first time in a long time, the war stuff hasn't developed into a full-on main segment. So that's cool, but we still have plenty to talk about there. But we'll start the show off with a little bit of icebreaker content, as I like to call it, stuff that's typically in the vein of fun, maybe funny, or gen pop. It doesn't even always have to be fun or funny. I have one that I've been sitting on that we're going to cover at some point that's kind of become gen pop, but it's not fun or funny. It's actually pretty sad. So we'll cover that one. I don't have that set up for today, but maybe another day. Later this week, and then we'll go into foreign policy, and then we'll go into encounters of the glowy kind. I'll go ahead and warn you, there's a pretty solid chance this next segment after the encounters of the glowy kind, which, let's be real, that topic speaks for itself, what it's going to be about. But I'll go ahead and warn you guys now, there's a good chance I might cut the last bit here, foreign domestic influence networks, because I have quite a bit for the encounters of the glowy kind. There's actually like a lot going on. I know we touched on this like I think a week or two ago. There was like a general or something missing at that time. A lot more has happened, so we have a lot to cover, and we're going to get into the weeds of all that. So maybe the foreign domestic influence networks, Kash Patel, Joe Kent, his Kash Patel's little Mossad girlfriend. Just kidding. Don't sue me. All those little things. That might have to wait. So just a little warning. Just full honesty, full frontal honesty. I know you guys love full frontal, but with that, guys, sorry if I'm weird again today, but I'm still very tired. I've still been having to get up in the middle of the night to feed little kitty. There's still one that's just not getting it, so I think within a day or two I might be able to actually get a full night's rest, or maybe like 4 or 5, because as they get a little bit older, you can go longer between feedings and stuff. So, yeah. But as always with the show, we will pop into in between each segment. We'll pop into the chat, say hello. I try to give everybody an obligatory, perfunctory good morning, just to say hi, because I do love you guys. I love my dumpers. I love you guys big time. And then we also timestamp this stuff too. So just to let you guys know, if you do want to listen to it on the way back, if you want to do the playback or something, you can avoid all the talk to the chat. I try to keep that to the end of every segment. I actually saw somebody comment yesterday, and they said, if I do the daily dump thing, can you drop that? Maybe, but I'm not. I mean, maybe we'd change the format now, but for now, definitely not. I like it. I genuinely like that. I get to it's my interaction with you guys. I know we probably waste good 10 to 20 minutes just on that, but it's fun. I don't know. I like it to stream. It is what it is. That's why I do the timestamps. You can skip past it if you don't like it. It is what it is. I think it has character. I think it has character. And at some point we'll have to, if the show grows, hopefully as the show grows, it might just be untenable to interact with the chat like that. But for now, you guys are my tight-knit crew. So we'll keep it that way until people blow it up. But even then, who knows? Maybe I'll just remember who was the OGs and I'll say hello to them. But I know we'll figure out how that'll work in the future. But for now, we're gonna keep saying hi to the chat. But I'm gonna, like I said, I keep it to a minimum. One good morning for everybody. After that, you gotta catch my interest or catch my wallet. You can super chat. We have already people who super chatted away the ads for this week. I think not for this week. I think actually tomorrow is good too, because we had multiple people send it. So just Friday we're waiting on. So, but just letting you guys know, you can support the show multiple ways if you can, if you want to. And that is one way to do it. And also, if you have something you really want to get off your chest, and I already gave you a good morning, then sorry, you got to pay me or be extra interesting. But even then, you never know. I might miss it. But all right, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm really tired. But let's jump right into Gen Pop, and then I'll talk to some of you beautiful people in the chat. Once again, sorry for how bad. Actually, real quick, somebody tell me how bad was that? Was the audio? Because I felt like I had a fun little intro with the kitty, and it was wholesome and cute. And then the computer feds just had to go and fuck it all up. So I don't know. How bad are we talking? I don't know. Whatever. I'll check in with you guys when we pop in the chat here in a little bit. Let's get into our icebreaker content. Starting off, here we go. This is. I guess we talked about this on Already Dead, but I probably should quickly mention this as well for you guys in case you're not aware of what this story is. Since we're going to jump into the deep end of it here with this little tidbit I'm about to show you guys. But I think it was yesterday in midday. So I guess for the dumpers, people who don't do Already Dead, might be news to you if you're not clicked into the news. Apparently, Christy Gnome's husband likes to wear boobies. So, hey, different strokes for different folks, all that. So, I mean, but I don't know. Definitely it seems to fly in the face of the Christy Gnome that we would think of. The one who goes back out back and shoots cricket. Down home country girl. And then she's got a cross-dressing husband. So, weird world. This is politics. But I thought it was pretty funny. It's very rare that I see a Democratic politician. And I'm like, wow, this guy's funny. This is a pretty good bit. But he has a theory on this, on exactly, kind of why Cricket was killed. For those who don't recall, Cricket is the dog that Kristi Noem in her memoir, like she wrote about this. Well, let's be real. She got it ghost written probably. But she put this in her book. So this is something that she used for PR, being like, there, I shot my dog because it wasn't doing what I wanted. And it was just a little puppy. But, sometimes you got to make the hard calls, and that's why I'm a good politician. And then, like, every person who's ever raised dogs like that isn't a fucking retarded Neanderthal, was like, what? What the fuck did you do? That's evil and retarded. Just murdering puppies. It takes a while to train animals. So, kind of evil shit. And that's something she put in her memoir. And also, her husband likes to have big old goofy boobies. If you want to hear more about that, you can. Me and Austin had a little bit of banter about it. But I just wanted to shine a little light on Jared Moskowitz, I think his name, or Moskowitz, which just by physiognomy and name alone, I would not think he was an enjoyable hang. But I have seen him, especially in a lot of these congressional hearings and stuff, grilling, especially some of the Epstein elite. And I'm like, this guy's got some spunk. He's kind of funny. Obviously, I'm sure we completely disagree politically, but I could smoke a doober with this fellow. He seems a hoot. So let's watch this. I just think it's a funny little bit.
Interesting. So your theory, first of all, is that Cricket walked in on Brian Noem in the act, and Cricket saw too much, and that's why Cricket had to meet this unfortunate, tragic ending.
Well, for those of us who are dog lovers, the dogs know all our secrets. Yep. Okay, they're sitting in the corner being all quiet, but they're watching, they're listening, and Cricket knew. Kristi Noem said today that the family was blindsided. Cricket wasn't blindsided. Cricket knew. Cricket was blindsided when she took Cricket out to the rock pit and shot him in the face. That's when Cricket was blindsided. I
know this is actually pretty tame so far as humor goes, and it's stupid. So I do feel like I'm giving him way too much ups for this. But it just, to me, I guess my impression, maybe they are growing, at least for... Which I guess I don't want them to grow. I want all politicians to fail. I don't know why, but I'm just commenting this guy's enjoyable. And it just, maybe there's some sort of commentary to be had, and maybe some of the Democrats have learned their lesson and stopped being so insufferable and unenjoyable, because I'm actually kind of surprised that someone like him would jump on this story, because this, you'd think, I know everyone's going to say, they're hypocritical and they don't care, but at least on a political level, like at this... Like someone of his, whatever you want to consider him, that he would be joking around about somebody's cross-dressing husband, and especially like in this way, obviously there's nothing like, you guys know me, I'm Mr. Tower Gang here. Like I've gone hard in the paint. I don't give a shit, but I'm just surprised to see a Democratic politician even kind of needle in this comedic realm. So, big ups, I guess, for him. I still wish you nothing but the worst, unless you're going after the Epstein class. But either way, I just thought that was funny, and I guess a little bit of an interesting way to introduce my dumpers to the bewildering story that Kristi Noem's husband is a crosser. It's just one of those ones that you're just like, what the fuck do I do with this? Like, okay. This doesn't really change my opinion of her in any way. Like, I know there's not really any meaning. There is meaningful conversation, and a lot of people have been bringing up that, like, obviously this is, like, this kind of shines a light on how blackmail operates and how, like, they can target your family. And it also kind of makes you wonder, like, the key question really is, like, who the fuck released this? And so I'd be interested, maybe once we stop laughing about it, we can get serious and look into that. Because I am curious. And also, like, what's the angle? Like, I know we joked a little bit last night on Already Dead that, like, actually perhaps this could be some sort of, 8D chess mega giga brain play by the Kristi Noem's people to be like, all right, she's completely not politically viable at all right now. Like, after the ICE debacle and after getting shit canned by Trump and the whole weird little ad scandal she had and banging Corey Lewandowski, which is, like, one of their, like, her staffers or something, you're like, you know what we really need? We need the impression that perhaps you were blackmailed, and that's why you're so dog shit. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a far cry, but either way, it's like I don't really understand what the angle is there. That she's already out. But I'd be interested. I mean, maybe there's some interesting angle. This either way, it's just a bewildering and kind of funny story. So I'm bringing it to you guys. Moving on, getting a little bit out of the political. I just thought this was everyone likes a good caper story, right? A good heist. Here's apparently, I don't know if this is true, by the way. This is one of these your tweets you see online that you're like, this is probably completely untrue, but whatever. Who cares? Just roll with it. It says Nestle just lost 413,793 Kit Kat bars. Someone stole them off a truck heading from their factory in central Italy to Poland, about 1,300 kilometers away. Roughly $1 million in chocolate. The truck, the bars, all of it just gone. The European Parliament study puts cargo theft costs across Europe at $8.2 billion a year. That works out to about $2.5 billion worth of goods disappearing for trucks and warehouses every 24 hours. I don't know, whatever. It's going. I don't care about all that. Essentially, it's funny that. Oh shit! I'm retarded. Look right here. The quote tweet of this is actually, so it's not just some scam and G online making up stories. There's actually the official Kit Kat account. A taste your treat with your tweet is there a little subtext of their title there on Twitter or whatever you call it. A little banner, I guess is what you'd call it. So it says here, official statement. We can confirm that 12T, I don't know what 12T, 12 trillion? What's the T is for? I don't know. Of Kit Kat products were stolen while in transit between our factory in central Italy and their destination in Poland. 12T. Is that some sort of metric thing that I'm not getting because I believe in freedom or something? Like what? One of you guys in a different country there. Is that some sort of? Do you guys say 12T over there in Commuland? How does this work? Obviously, I'm being facetious. Like, if you actually look at like the effective tax rates at things that are considered colloquially communist and things that are considered colloquially capitalist, it's actually damn near typically not much of a difference. So they're all goddamn communists. So I am being silly, to be clear. But it's saying we are working closely with local authorities and supply chain partners to investigate. The good news: there are no concerns for customer safety and supply is not affected. That is nuts. So it's legit. That is legit. All right. Okay. I look forward to the movie. I feel like there's lots of comedic skits to be had here. One last feel-good story before we get to the deep, dark shit. Now, this is probably a made-up story right here, considering the account that it came from, but I think it's funny. It's not even funny. It's a little bit humorous, a little bit wholesome. Just a feel-good type thing. It says in 2007, a 12-year-old Norwegian boy, Hans Jorgen Olsen, saved his sister from a moose attack using skills he learned of World of Warcraft. He taunted the moose to draw its attention away from her, then used the game's feign death tactic by lying still until the animal lost interest and walked away. Yeah, while you were chasing girls, Hans was honing his skills, all right? And now he's an unstoppable force in the world. So good job, Hans. Who's now, actually, like my age, I think. He's 12 years old in 2007. It's been 9. Yeah, he's like 31. So he's no longer this goofy little kid. Now his skills are completely maxed out. So be careful, guys. He's out there, and he's a full-grown man. So anytime you see a shadow, just know Hans might be in it. So don't fuck around. Lest he summon some zombies on your ass. I did think it was adorable. One of the best comments here. That's not a kid. That's a level 60 tank. All right, whatever. We're getting out of the goofy. We had to get a little goofy. Let's get into the chat, and then we'll get into the depressing, get into foreign policy. And let's hope the computer feds haven't come back. Let me check the bottom of the chat, just to be sure. Now I don't trust it. Cool. Nobody's complaining about it right now. Somebody said tons. I'm retarded. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Tons. I don't know why I was thinking in like monetary for some reason, and I couldn't think of tons. I'm sorry. I'm tired once again. Good morning, King David. Good morning. Good morning. Saying hit that like button, dumpers. Good morning, Blues Girl. Good morning, aggressively agreeing. Good morning, hey say what now? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Namrock. Good morning, Captain Caveman. Good morning. Hey, say what now? Actually, I think did I already say that to you? Yes, I did. Who else we got? Oh. Good morning, Tom33. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning, PJR. Good morning, Marnamac. PJR says Jose doesn't take $2 no more. These two look like complete dipshit. What are you talking about? I don't take $2. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm still tired. What the fuck's that? Don't take $2? I'm a little confused. All right. Anyways, moving on. Tons. Yeah, everyone's saying tons. I'm retarded. Yeah, that totally makes sense now. I'm like tons. Good morning, retardo, Genio. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's get into foreign policy. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into the wild world of what the fuck is going on in the murder apparatus of this thing we call a government. So, speaking of murder, U.S.-Israeli strikes in Iran hit orphanage, cancer drug facility, religious site, and more residential buildings. They continue to pound civilian targets in Iran. CNN reported, citing Iran's semi-official Fars news agency, that a U.S. or Israeli strike on Monday hit a newly built orphan charity complex in the city of Fardis, about 25 miles west of Tehran, killing at least 2 people and wounding 5 others. The attack in the orphanage was also recorded by HRANA, a U.S.-based and U.S.-funded NGO that's very critical of the Iranian government. According to Al Jazeera, the Iranian government said that a U.S.-Israeli strike on Tuesday hit one of Iran's largest pharmaceutical companies in Tehran that makes anesthetics and cancer drugs. During the U.S. and Zionist regime attacks on civilian centers on the morning of Tuesday, one of the largest companies producing anti-cancer, anesthetic, and specialized medicines was damaged, and the drug production line was damaged, the government said. The Iranian Red Crescent Society reported that one of its workers was killed by a U.S.-Israeli strike that hit the Grand Husseiniya of Zanjan, a gathering hall for Shia Muslims that's next to a mosque, and shared photos and videos of rescue efforts at the site of the strike, and said at least 2 people were pulled out of the rubble. They also posted videos of workers working the rubble of the site of a U.S.-Israeli strike on a residential building in Tehran. The IRCS said that more than 100,000 civilian units have been damaged or destroyed across Iran. According to the HRANA's numbers, at least 1,574 civilians, including 236 children, have been killed in bombardment since the U.S. and Israel launched the war on February 28th. So, just to make that very clear, Trump's administration, the U.S. government, military members as well, the ones that are dropping those bombs, just to be very clear, they have killed over 1,500 people of civilians. That's just civilians, over 200 children. So, we covered yesterday that sports hall that got attacked. Moving on, we also got Iran's foreign minister once again denying that negotiations with the U.S. are taking place. He said that they have exchanged indirect messages through mediators, so that's probably what all the hoopla is about when Trump makes those claims. The tiniest, itsy-bitsiest little bit of truth. It says there have been no formal negotiations, adding that Tehran does not have any faith that diplomacy with the U.S. would lead to results. It says they said that the messages had been received from Steve Witkoff, but gave no indication that they replied. It says, I received messages from Witkoff directly as before, and this does not mean that we are in negotiations. There is no truth to the claim of negotiations with any party in Iran. All messages are conveyed through the foreign ministry or received by it, and there are communications between security agencies. So they also said, we do not have any faith that negotiations with the U.S. will yield any results. The trust level is at 0. We don't see any honesty. Pezeshkian, who is the Iranian president, keep in mind they have the Ayatollah and they have a president, so a little bit of a different scenario. The guy Aragshi is their foreign minister, I believe. Now Pezeshkian said that Iran was willing to end the war only if it received guarantees that it wouldn't be attacked again. He said, we have never sought tension or war at any stage, and we have the necessary resolve to end this war if the required conditions are met, especially the necessary guarantees to prevent a recurrence of aggressions. President Trump has continued to insist that talks with Iran are taking place and is threatening to destroy Iran's power plants and potentially its desalination plants if a deal isn't reached. He has signaled that he may be willing to end the war even without the Strait of Hormuz being open, but is also building up forces for potential ground operations. Let's check in on Trump's Truth Social activities. He recently, just a few hours ago, put out this one, a little bit more succinct, a little bit more, a little briefer, a little better, a little more to the original Trump vibe. Just a quick glance. He's been doing these crazy long screeds recently. But here you go. He says, Iran's new regime president, much less radicalized and far more intelligent than his predecessors, has just asked the United States of America for a ceasefire. We will consider when Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion, or as they say, back to the Stone Ages. Man, we really thought we were having tacos yesterday, and now it doesn't look like that is the case. Looks like they're back at it. More bullshit. So we're going to bomb you. And supposedly he's talking to some new regime president. That's whoever the fuck that is. So that's great. I don't buy this at fucking all. And also tonight, keep an eye out. Apparently, we are supposed to be getting our programming interrupted on all the major TV networks at 9 p.m. For Trump to address the nation. So I know we'll see. I'm sure. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't talk about Iran, but we'll see. I guess I wouldn't be that surprised. I could also believe it was just some other stupid bullshit. Just sits there and talks about for an hour all the great things his administration has done. And be like, oh, we need to focus on this, which he's done that before. I think it was in the midst of all the Epstein stuff. He literally did that. He was like, we're not, did some sort of addressing the nation thingy or something. And then, everyone's expecting, oh, my God, they're going to say some crazy. And he just spent, the whole fucking time be like, we really need to focus on all the great things that we're doing. We did this. We did that. We did this. And then everyone's like, okay, what about the kids that were fucked? What about that? No. We brought down marginal tax rates on people at the 57% to 59% effective rate. Whatever the fuck. Some stupid fucking extremely retarded, minute specific thing. You're like, oh, how do I even quantify this? Moving on, he's also look at this. This is going to be in the presidential library main hall, a 10-meter tall golden statue of Donald Trump. Yeah. So that's great. Also, keep in mind, I saw someone commented, today is April Fool's. That may become relevant later today. But we'll see. This one, maybe this one's an April Fool's. I would not be surprised. This is the current paradigm we're living in. I would not be the least bit surprised if Donald Trump put a gargantuan golden statue of himself inside the White House or wherever the presidential library is or whatever. I would not be the least bit surprised. Moving on. Now, this stuff is interesting. This I find surprising. Apparently, Italy has denied U.S. warplanes access to key airbase, rejects role in Iran war. So we're starting to see the crumbling of our allies. They're seeing the writing on the wall. They're going, oh shit, a lot of them. So let's dig in this one a little bit. It's from the Cradle. It says, Italy denied U.S. warplanes access to the Sigonella Air Base in Sicily a few evenings ago after flight plans were submitted while in mid-air without prior approval, according to a report cited by Corriere della Sera on 31 March. Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto made the decision after being alerted by Chief of Defense Staff Luciano Portolano, who was informed that U.S. bombers intend to land at the base before continuing toward East Asia or West Asia. The request came only after the aircraft was already airborne with no consultation or authorization from Italian authorities. Initial military checks around the flights were not routine or logistical, placing them outside existing Italy-U.S. agreements and requiring formal approval and parliamentary oversight. Crosetto had previously stated that any operation that does not fall within existing treaties and therefore requires authorization, we commit to submitting to Parliament. It says, with no authorization in place, Portolano informed U.S. command that the aircraft would not be allowed to land and place on them under a caveat restricting landing to emergency situations only. Political reactions to the decision were immediate in Italy. Democratic Party Anthony Barbagello called the move a relevant and correct fact, but warned the situation remains extremely opaque and worrying. I find this particularly interesting that we got Spain, Italy here denying the warplanes. I think this one also I think this one has something about Spain in it too. Let's skim over to that because I know Spain's been acting up as well. So here we go. Spanish authorities. Actually, let me back up a little bit. It says the decision comes amid mounting U.S. pressure for European nations to join their illegal war in Iran, with Italy's moves mirroring Spain's own refusal to support U.S.-Israeli military offensive operations in West Asia. Spanish authorities, Spain, by the way, announced yesterday for my less intelligent dumpers out there that U.S. military aircraft involved in strikes in Iran would be barred from using the country's airspace and bases for combat operations, while limiting cooperation to logistical support under existing agreements. Earlier, several U.S. allies signaled reluctance to escalate further, with the UK, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Japan, and Canada backing a proposed Hormuz coalition while making no commitment to any direct military role. Officials emphasized that any involvement remain limited, with multiple governments ruling out participation in offensive operations and stressing diplomacy over escalation, even as Washington continues to carry out strikes in and around Iran largely alone. So particularly interesting because we have bases there. So this is, as titled here, access to key airbase. So that's the significant thing. We've essentially set up all our bases all over the world and been this big fucking bully. And it seems like the cows are starting to come fucking home. And it's almost like the strength is the weakness a little bit here, in the sense that like, oh, well, they just go, well, fuck you. You don't get to use this base for the things you want to use it for. And so now all this infrastructure you built there, this is all built off the assumption that we're the big dick swinging and we'll do whatever the fuck we want. And when the rubber hits the road, especially when we're getting ready to put the world into probably an economic depression, we're probably looking at something near, around, maybe lesser, maybe even more than COVID, perhaps, especially for our foreign allies out there. Not even allies, just a lot of the foreigners, particularly. Actually, I guess the non-allies are doing a little bit better. But even then, it's a global market, so it kind of fucks over everybody. Just some people get fucked less than others. So interesting things shaking out here, but it's not all rainbows and kittens here. We've also got Saudi and UAE doing the opposite here. So we got other countries trying to egg on the fight. So Saudi, UAE encouraged Trump to continue war until Iran faces decisive defeat. Now this checks out, though. You got to think like where are these allies at? These ones are their neighbors, and they wanted to keep going. And especially if like essentially what Saudi Arabia and UAE are, they're kind of like I think they're basically a tax haven, if I understand correctly. But essentially, it's basically this place where a lot of the rich elites all around the world like to set up base. Go vacation, go shop for designer bags. This sort of shtick, that thing. And it was always supposed to be this idea of like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is crazy place in the Middle East. They're all oil rich, and we can do whatever we want, and it's just the partying and fun. And now they're getting fucking bombed. So it's like so the other Middle Eastern countries that don't have this paradigm in place, they're like, no, stop this, stop. Whereas somebody like a UAE or a Saudi is like, we kind of fucked up their whole shtick, like the thing their whole, like the majority of their economy is based around. It's like we just kind of completely butt fucked it here. Because who's want to do that who's going to want to do this when that like, hey, we're at war, you can get touched any time, especially as things start may get more unstable. I mean, it's probably more Israel's fault than Iran, but I can also see where Saudi and UAE would be at, since they are allied with us. They kind of got stuck in this sinking boat, and we're leaving them, we're just screwing them over. We're screwing everybody over every which way. And as this is going on, kind of foreshadowing this possible energy crisis coming, especially over in Europe, we got Brussels officials urging Europeans to work from home and drive less. I've also heard other foreign dignitaries talking about, just be sure to go with no sleeves. So I'm doing my part, guys. You guys see me in tank tops. I'm doing my part. I'm preparing for the oil crisis. Just don't wear sleeves. Lay off the AC. Just So don't drive, carpool. So we're going to this. Don't fly. This thing that all the conspiracy theorists have been talking about forever. Oh, you're going to be stuck to a localized area. You're not going to be able to fly. It's the end of international transport. You're going to be poor and stuck in your little smart city. Well, yeah, watch it happen in real time. And as this is all going on, we got Netanyahu saying some absolutely wild shit in Hebrew. That's how this game's always played. But we're in this world where people are capable of interpreting and dispersing information in a very damn near split second sort of way these days. So this whole shtick of like, I'll say some things in English and some things in Hebrew, and that'll trick the goy. I think we're a little bit past that. But at the same time, I think they probably are aware, and they know they're past that, and they're just saying, "Fuck it." Like we're racing to the finish at this point. So let's see what he had to say.
And this is the guarantee for our future.
Bibi Netanyahu, if I wasn't clear, for those maybe listening on audio or something.
And this is the guarantee for our future. We are working on transforming Israel into a super nation in the region and globally, and we were able to do so thanks to our soldiers and our captains and all those who fought and those who died, and of course thanks to your solidarity and your steadfastness. And this is the guarantee for our future.
So, just to recap, admits they started the war in Iran in order to transform Israel into a super nation. Says we are working on transforming Israel into a super nation in the region and globally. Which, this is what a lot of people have been saying anyway. It's just, here you go. And at the same time, we got Israel continuing their murder escapade over in Gaza. They killed 6 in the past 24 hours on Tuesday. Including a little boy and his father. The boy Yahi al-Bayuk and his father Mahmoud were killed by an Israeli airstrike in Khan Yunis. So just dropping airstrikes on. And here's their shrouds right there. I guess the reporting was scattered. I guess on the age, I think from 2 to 8. So, but you can see the shroud right there, and it's very clearly a boy, a little boy. I mean, or I guess it could be a girl. I don't know, but they report it's a boy, so we'll just assume it's a boy. It's a small child. It's a small child, so that's wonderful. Israeli airstrike in Jabalia killed at least 3 Palestinians and wounded several others. Later in the day, another strike targeted southern Gaza, hitting the Al-Mawasi tent camp and killing at least 1 person. So, attacking tent camps, attacking small children, and we still got the whole Lebanon thing going on, which is like almost multiple times larger than the Nakba. That is kind of what started off this whole trauma cycle that we're dealing with. So just continuing to just keep spinning that cycle harder and harder and harder, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Just continuing to add more and more trauma into the mix. So now we're up to the point of the defense minister. It almost feels redundant because every day they're like, it's a different minister of some sort saying something about some level of degree of, whatever word they're going to hedge, essentially. In reality, they're saying we're annexing it. We're taking this. We're occupying, annexing, whatever word. But they kind of like do the scaling thing, kind of bounce around which minister says it. But we're at Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has declared that Israel would formally occupy the whole Lebanese territory south of the Litani River and will commit to a policy of totally leveling the villages along the border of the occupied territory in northern Israel. So he had talked up an occupation and everything, but named last week talking of creating a buffer zone out of that territory and saying no Lebanese civilians would be allowed to return in that part of Lebanon. The pretense of a buffer zone seems to be fading fast among Israeli officials, with Katz now talking of Israel simply gaining occupational control over the region and destroying the southernmost villages in accordance with the Rafah and Beit Hanun model in Gaza, which, those are cities they just completely fucking leveled. So he reiterated that any return of Lebanese displaced in the occupied south would be completely prohibited and claimed this would affect some 600,000 Lebanese civilians. Israel has completely destroyed all the bridges spanning the Litani River, so anyone who fled north earlier is effectively locked out of returning at any rate. So wonderful, our greatest allies in action. Let's pop in the chat, say some more good mornings, see what else you guys have to say. Boomer, good morning. I think I already said good morning to you. Good morning, Gotis. Did I do away with a $2 Patreon tier? Says you're the second person that says something about $2. I'm confused. What do you mean the $2 Patreon tier? Is this something you guys like fucking with me? If you go to Patreon, I've not done anything to my Patreon. I mean, I don't even know how I would check, but I have not changed anything so far as like how you can contribute. So I think you can still do $2. So I don't know. I'm confused. You got PJR also saying he was going to donate $2. So I'm kind of confused. I'm very confused actually. What you guys are talking about. Are you guys saying that you actually went to my Patreon and attempted to become patrons and then it didn't have the $2 tier or something? Or are you guys like fucking with me? What is this? Good morning, Mojo. Good morning. Good morning, Gerald, saying you're all Jewish. We all got a little Jew inside of us, don't we? Good morning. PJR, I guess, I mean, if you didn't figure out that $2 from Patreon, I guess you figured it out here. Dropped a little super chat, said, we must joust modernism. Big facts. Appreciate the support, PJR. Much love. Yeah, I'm confused. Gotis says that theirs is still at $2. The fuck? Sorry, something got stuck to my foot on the ground. Good morning, Fendelander. Good morning. We got a little tower form. We got an NI. Oh, somebody fucked it up. Doubled up the eyes. So not quite. You didn't quite land it. Not giving credit for that one. Sorry. The PM of Italy just told Israel to go fuck itself. How quaint. Yes. Let me see. Gotcha says the world's wild. It's 50-50 whether or not a giant golden Trump statue is an April Fool's joke. Yes. Sure is. Are you getting somebody saying my ad pop-ups are horrifying? Am I getting ad pop-ups right now? I did not turn on ads, so I'm confused if you are. Good morning, Nate. Good morning. Good morning, Cam Arneal. Good morning. Good morning, Boomer Sooner. Appreciate the $2 as Feed the Kitties Fund water rights. Hashtag water rights. Well, you don't have rights to my fucking water. It's my goddamn water. Get your own goddamn water. And I'm going to hoard up all the world's water, and it will be mine, and you will all come to me. But appreciate the support, buddy. Moving on. Who else we got? See if we got any new people in here. Good morning, Skulls Potter. Sharing on Rumble some article about, a Rumble thing about the top 50 richest rappers in the world. Thanks. Appreciate it. I guess I'm assuming that's some sort of spam. So, but thank you for the engagement. All right, moving on. Let's get into some alien stuff. Let's get into some weird alien shit. Getting right into it. Here we go. Obviously, and a lot of people may know Gates said some wild shit recently. He's the thumbnail for this episode. Matt Gates, but that preceded this a little bit ago, like a couple days ago, that I already had bookmarked. I already had my finger kind of on the pulse, like something's going on. I mean, let's be real. Something's been going on for a long time now. So I guess it's not all that new. But JD Vance kind of got in the mix a little bit ago. He went on old Benny Johnson's podcast, because I mean, if you're gonna go do a podcast, like a live podcast, like, I mean, you want to get slopped off by the host after too, right? Like that. I mean, like it's a twofer. Like you get both at the same time. Like why would you travel to wherever the fuck Benny's? Like really, you're getting the vice president to travel? Or I mean, I guess he probably came to him, but I mean, even better. Now you have a podcaster coming to you, and then he slops you off. Fucking brilliant, right? Like you were having like that's like top level. Like I don't know, pretty genius actually. So politicians got it made. They know what's up. All right, I'm being a little silly. Actually, I'm not being all that silly if you know the histories of these two folks. But either way, they did have a few comments about aliens. Actually, he said quite a few interesting little comments, because this is very recently. So this is in the midst of all the Iran stuff. So we may end up picking it a little bit more at this podcast. But yeah, Benny, complete slop, but it does make for good coverage for this show. So let's watch it.
You're going to release all the UFO files? You're going to release all the UFO files?
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But
I'm stopping. Fire Pixie, good morning. I guess I thought I gave you a good morning. I'm sorry. I stopped the show just for you. I felt bad. I'm not going to do that to my girl. I'm sorry. Good morning, Fire Pixie. You are appreciated. You are acknowledged. You are loved. You are validated. All right, we're moving back on to the show.
I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done a peek? Have you
So I actually haven't. I have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it.
Yeah.
But I am going to. Trust me. I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet.
Some
Not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio.
Hangar 18, Hangar 18, right?
I've
I've heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that, because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, "Yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not." And
I did not.
And so Obama says, "Yes, aliens are."
It's wild they're still going on about that. I think we played on the show. It's crazy, the grift of these fucking people. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no love lost for Obama, but it is wild that they're riffing off that still. We watched that clip and he didn't say anything that wild. Like, he kind of, the way he said it was kind of like, oh, "Yep, I think there's aliens." Like, essentially he was saying he thinks there's aliens. Like, he's like, "Yeah, there are aliens." I don't think he wasn't necessarily saying, "I've seen shit, and therefore, as a former POTUS, there are," like, it was completely, like, at least from my opinion, a lot of the conservative influencers got really gay about that one. It's like, I guess everyone really just wants to push the alien shit, so they got to find any way to dial up the gay little dialectic.
He gets asked point blank, "Are aliens real?" "Oh, yeah." And then he goes, "But they're not at Area 51." And
well, where are they?
Well, that's what he says. Right. That's a great question.
I need
Trump
to see
had to go say,
Yes.
Okay. Do you think they're deep?
Celestial beings to do weird.
That was weird. Sorry, I stopped it for a second because I noticed it like wasn't. Did you guys get a weird lag there? Right,
Everything celestial, everything is otherworldly. To describe it as aliens, I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
Okay, so we have him leaning to the religious angle, which, I don't know, it's a bit predictable. I mean, hell, even if we're looking at these as influence networks, which we may get into in the next segment, the influence network that he's attached to, like that's kind of been weirdly like a big, let's be real, the vaguely Teal, Tucker, like a lot of these people, for some reason, that's been kind of a weird thing, like this religious angle and aliens. That's like a big Teal thing, like big time. So a lot of his underlings as well. So I don't know. It feels a little bit. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm being too schizophrenic, too pattern recognition-y. But it's been feeling like for a hot minute that they're doing some shit. I mean, hell, back in COVID, that was when they first started peppering in like, "Ooh, look at this UFO video. Look at," like, so this is anytime shit gets pretty wild, like crazy, they peppered in. And I mean, at some point you think this storyline has to culminate into something. I mean, maybe they can just keep milking it for bullshit for a long period of time, but at some point, it looks like maybe we might be at that point, not to get ahead of myself, but let's go over to Matt Gaetz, making some wild claims. We talked about this on Already Dead a little bit last night, so sorry if you watched that too. We're going to play the same clip again, but I think it's worthwhile playing again.
I think the most important information will be the biologics that are not human, that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating. What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group members of Congress to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations at one time. And so that never occurred.
What do you mean non-human biologics? Like this?
Well, that was the testimony of David Grush before the House Oversight Committee, which I joined, and the testimony was that in crashes of craft that had been recovered by the CIA and through a special program that the CIA had for crash recovery, that it wasn't just the hard materials, it was also biologics, but that they couldn't identify a human source of those biologics.
All right, a lot there. I really don't. Matt Gaetz is making claims that he was briefed about alien-human hybrids, which I don't even know how to. I don't even know what to make of that. Okay. And then we also got another politician who did have some stuff to say about this as well. We got Senator Babbitt, which I believe he's from Australia. He made a comment about this yesterday as well, but let's watch this. Let's watch this real quick. Let's check in on this Senator Babbitt from Australia, who had some interesting stuff to add to this.
Breaking news. It's true. There are aliens living amongst us. There are aliens in Area 51. There are even alien human hybrids. I have been briefed this morning in a top secret intelligence briefing that exposes all. Unfortunately, I am forbidden from speaking about it under pain of death. But know this, I will fight for accountability and I will fight for transparency. There is more to come. Stay tuned. Follow for more.
All right. Now, I actually think some people fell for this. I mean, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm actually wrong here. Now, perhaps I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure this is April Fool's. Now, if Black Guy are in here, I know you're the resident Aussie in the chat. If you are in here, let me know. Now, this was posted at 7:31 Eastern, March 31st. I have a sneaking feeling that perhaps in Australia it may have already been the first. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not a czar of time zones. I'm not quite sure, but this feels goofy. It feels like a joke. I mean, he's kind of smiling. I mean, let's be real. There's irony in the statement itself. Although it is funny, I guess, even to how we were talking about the golden statue earlier. There's like a 50-50 chance it's an April Fool's joke or it's real. This is another one, because while it is kind of funny, kind of goofy, what he is saying is actually kind of by the numbers, like the line that you get whenever one of these fucking politicians has some sort of thing to say about aliens. Obviously, he's being more hyperbolic about it, but it's like, oh my God, crazy, salacious implication. I can't really talk about it, though, but I'm going to say some wild shit. What does that really mean? I don't know. What does it mean? But I'm going to really fight for transparency, even though I know Okay. I mean, you could just fucking say it. I mean, I don't know. I guess Gates sort of did. But, I guess coming back to Babbitt, here's what he had said prior to this. He'd said, "You would be surprised who's not entirely human." He'd put out a tweet about that. It says he can't disclose more because the alien hybrid program is classified. So I think he's just having a goof. But I do think this makes for some interesting commentary about this whole situation. Here's JT Alexander on Twitter. Not some guy I follow. I don't know. Post-liberal conservative, lawyer, veteran, and Middle East geopolitical expert, public school abolitionist, nom de plume enjoyer of civilization first. He says, as a former spook, I can tell you that the easiest low-integrity career path for former spies and intel goons, and he doesn't say this, but let's be real, politicians, is to become a tell-all writer that affirms every conspiracy theory as true. This works commercially because people lap it up and enables you to lean on your old career and esoteric secret knowledge, like a Gnostic priest. This works legally because none of it is true, so none of it is actually classified, making it completely legal. Nobody can prove that you're making stuff up, so your claims never get fully disproven. At best, you'll get debunked by Snopes or New York Times, which nobody takes seriously anymore. It is a pure grift career, but one I've seen become lucrative multiple times. Keep this in mind when you're dealing with politicians from the influencer politician era of the 2020s. And that is super true. But at the same time, I would hazard caution that perhaps there's some sort of grain of truth of something to this whole... I do feel like we are being to some degree bamboozled. I'm very, very skeptical about that there's human alien hybrids or whatever. But I do feel like perhaps, maybe it's all just smoke and air and just whatever the hell the expression is there. Just bullshit. Or, it's probably, I have a feeling it's more or less bullshit that's leading to something, some sort of, how do I say this? Actual bullshit, I guess. It sounds confusing. But what I mean is in the sense that a false flag is bullshit. But let's say the difference between actually doing a false flag and the difference between saying you did a false flag when you didn't do a false flag or something like that. So, anyways, yeah, so it was an interesting way to look at it, but, at the same time, there is a reason to be concerned. Here's a Substack I found, we're going to dig into, going into a bunch of different people that have gone disappearing, dead, myriad of different weird situations that all seem to be connected. Maybe we're being schizophrenic here, but I've heard this being thrown around a lot, so I figure... why not delve into it? That's a perfect use of this show. This is a Sentinel briefing we're going to be reading. The Sentinel Network is the Substack here. It says, the long count, we started with 2 names. The list didn't stop. Because like I said before, initially it started with that one former general or admiral or whatever he was. And then it... And now I've been hearing all the rumors, everybody saying, oh my God, this is to send to a whole bigger other thing. I remember there was another girl, some other person after that everybody made a big deal about. Now it's a whole bunch. Now maybe the people are just being schizophrenic, connecting too many dots. I don't know. You'll be the judge of that as we dig through this. It says, a Caltech astronomer shot on his porch. 3 AFRL employees dead in one night. A charge dismissed 11 days before a killing in the same institution at the center of every single case. Got me hooked. Says where we are. 10 days ago, we published The Ghost General. Every outlet ran the same story about Major General William Neal McCasland, retired general, medical concerns, check your cameras. We ran the public records. We found his business partner misidentified as a community acquaintance in every article. We found his wife's astronaut semifinalist career that nobody reported. We mapped $450 million in active defense contracts across the institutions he's built and advised. 2 days later, in the dead drop, we followed the digital trail to at TMB spaceships, an anonymous X account that went silent the day McCasland vanished. We recovered a 1998 schematic from its archive and a reverse-engineered propulsion component list from the bleed-through on the back of the page. Attribution to McCasland is probable but not confirmed. So that's interesting. Obviously, not a smoking gun of any sort, but interesting. On Monday, we published The Green Burial, Monica Jacinto Reza. the inventor of Mondaloy, the super ally enabling America's replacement for Russian rocket engines, the woman who waved at her hiking companion from 30 feet away on a ridgeline in the Angeles National Forest and ceased to exist. We documented the FLIR negative search, the scent trail that ended at a misplaced beanie, the find a grave memorial created while helicopters were still searching. We connected her to Caslin through the AFRL funding chain and through their shared connection to Dallas Hardwick, Reza's mentor who co-invented the alloy and worked under McCaslin's command at Wright-Patterson. Her alloy, his budget, their mentor. All three on the same program at the same time. Two of them now gone. The third dead of cancer in 2014. That was Monday. We thought we had the full picture. Then a commenter wrote 4 words. Shades of the Marconi scientists. And a reader asked, any known connections to Nuno Lalero or Carl Grillmeyer? We started looking. What we found is worse than what we expected. Here's a picture of Carl Grillmeyer, which actually I think I covered some of these names. So they may seem familiar as we go through, but I guess they're kind of connecting these together. The astronomer. Carl Johann Grillmeyer spent nearly 30 years at Caltech's Infrared Processing and Analyst Center, IPAC. If you've read a headline about NASA detecting an asteroid with NEOWISE or water on another planet, the data pipeline that processed that detection was the one he helped operate. Oh yeah, this is the scientist that, I remember he died under weird circumstances. So, all right, let's keep going. I think we covered that a while back. He was the instrument characterization specialist for NEO Surveyor, the first space telescope built specifically to find objects that could hit Earth. He ran quality assurance for the NEOWISE Science Data Center. He published 147 peer-reviewed papers. He lived in the desert because the nighttime darkness was better for watching the sky. He built his own observatory at his home. He flew small planes and gliders that he maintained himself, and he'd cheerfully take up anyone who asked. His work was quiet. The implications were not. The algorithms Grillmeyer built and validated do one thing: find a dark, cold object against the black of space using nothing but the heat it borrowed from the sun. That's how you find an asteroid. It's also how you find a Chinese satellite or a Russian hypersonic glide missile. Same math, same pipeline, different customer. Now, that's an interesting point that they brought up right there, and I think something to keep an eye on as we keep reading. Because with a lot of this alien stuff, the same kind of technologies or whatever kind of get wrapped up with a lot of the same futuristic stuff that we have going on now. So you could be like, ooh, aliens, or you're like, ooh, the one unit they were connected to was in charge of whatever. But a lot of those same units are also doing like drone stuff or, satellite stuff, and which do have wartime applications. So considering we're at war with Iran, that is, being worked with, that it's almost certainly looks like they're getting big time help from like Russia, which, to be fair, we are doing the same goddamn thing in Ukraine. But as a result, we end up with a situation we just recently had where we had like drones over Barksdale Air Force Base, which is where I think the B-52s were that I believe that's where the B-52s that dropped Little Boy and Fat. No, it's Little Man and Fat Boy. I forget, whatever. The nukes, the ones who dropped the nukes, I think came from Barksdale. So kind of a big deal. The Air Force Research Laboratory knows this. AFOSR, one of the lab's own directorates, funds research into long wavelength infrared detection in the same spectral bands that Grillmeyer's NEOWISE telescope operates in. Planetary defense and missile defense are the same physics problem with different names, and Grillmeyer was one of the people who made the physics work. That's interesting, especially with all our interceptor problems, and that being a key thing these days. It says IPAC doesn't exist in isolation. It's responsible for processing all NEO Surveyor data. NEO Surveyor is being developed by JPL. JPL is managed by Caltech. Grillmeyer's, IPAC, and Monica Reza's JPL are the same institutional family, the same campus corridor, the same stretch of the San Gabriel Valley where America's planetary defense infrastructure lives. On the morning of February 16th, 2026, at approximately 6:10 a.m., LA County Sheriff's deputies responded to a 911 call on the 30,700 block of 165th Street East in Llano, a rural desert community in the Antelope Valley. They found Grillmeyer on his front porch, gunshot wound to the torso, dead at the... Wow, what a rough way to go. Dead at the scene. You think when you think of shot on the porch, you think like a dome shot or something. But getting shot in the stomach, that's rough. Freddie Snyder, 29, was arrested later that day after a carjacking in the same area. Actually, they said torso, so I guess that could have been like a heart shot. So maybe it was like an instant killing. I was thinking of like a gut shot. Freddie Snyder, 29, was arrested later that day after carjacking in the same area. He was arrested with murder, carjacking, and a December 28th burglary. Bail set at $3.175 million. Arraignment scheduled for March 26th in Lancaster. That would be the end of it. A tragic random act of rural violence, except for what happened 2 months earlier. On December 20th, 2025, Gromayer spotted someone on his property who didn't belong there. He called law enforcement. When deputies arrived, they found Snyder in the area carrying a loaded, unregistered rifle. He told them he was walking to the post office. That's Snyder. That's the guy who was arrested later for killing him. So he was spotted 11 days earlier. That same guy, and he was carrying a loaded, unregistered rifle. Which I don't even know what it means by unregistered. I guess it's in Cali, so that's what it means. I don't understand that because I believe in freedom. And I'm like, what do you mean unregistered? I bought this. What do you mean register? He told them he was walking to the post office. Property records show Gromeyer's home and the local post office are in opposite directions from Snyder's address. Snyder was arrested, charges carrying a loaded firearm in a personal vehicle and attempted escape from jail. 2 felonies, an armed man who lied about his destination, caught on the property of a scientist who works on classified adjacent infrared sensing data. February 5th, 2026, both charges were dismissed under California Penal Code 1385 in the furtherance of justice. Oh, so this got dismissed. The charges were dismissed despite the fact this guy was lurking 11 days earlier on the property 11 days earlier with a rifle. Like this guy had already called the cops on him 11 days prior. Which, I mean, obviously that doesn't mean he did it, but, like, I mean, let's be real. We're all thinking it. Oh, no, I'm retarded. I'm misunderstanding the dates. So, if February 5th, he was dismissed. When did the killing happen? Let's go back. The death. Sorry. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing this. I'm trying to find. Where did he die? Morning of February 16th is when he died. So, all right, let's go back. Okay, yes. Okay, cool. So the 11 days earlier, the 11 days, subtitle they had here confused me a little bit. So the 11 days was when he got released from his charges got dismissed. So the charges they're referring to here were the ones of him walking around the property. So I thought they were saying he got dismissed from murder. My bad. Still sleepy still. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it wasn't clear enough. I don't know. But then 11 days later, Snyder was back on Gromeyer's porch with a gun. So, okay, so he got, thrown, his charges got dismissed for him walking around, lurking around somebody's house with a gun out, it sounds like, which he wasn't supposed to. Charges got dismissed, and then 11 days later, he, was back on his porch with a gun. Assuming he died, obviously. Assuming he's the one who killed him. The identity of the presiding judge who dismissed the charges has not been located in accessible public records. The case number has not been located. No motive has been publicly disclosed. Detectives say they don't believe the two men knew each other. Read that sequence one more time. Armed trespasser, unregistered rifle, lied about his destination, caught in a Caltech scientist property, arrested, charges dismissed, killed the scientist, and nobody can explain why any of it happened. Snyder's arraignment is scheduled for March 26th in Lancaster, so it's already happened at this point. So 6 days ago or something. He's the only perpetrator in the Kennedy cases we document in this briefing who is still alive. So that's interesting. I guess this is, for those who want to research further, this is the only guy really, so far as like directly involved in any of these stories that, is still out there to be contacted. So I'm going to, just for the interest of those interested again, who this is, Freddie Snyder. So just to repeat that, since that is looks like the only lead here. We hadn't heard about this one. Okay, Jacob and Jamie Pritchard. So they showed a picture, and that's why. So they were referencing a picture there. My bad. So here is Jacob and Jamie Pritchard. Here looks like a pretty couple, or maybe they're siblings. I'm not sure. They're a couple. So it says we hadn't heard about this one until a source in X flagged it. Once we verified it, the architecture of the pattern changed. So on October 25th, 2025, Jacob Pritchard, 34, killed his wife, Jamie, at their home in Huber Heights, Ohio, and placed her body in the trunk of their car. He then drove to Sugar Creek Township, broke into the apartment of a coworker, First Lieutenant Jamie Gustitis, 25, and shot her to death. Oh, okay. So this is a third person here. So on the left here, you have Jacob and Jamie Pritchard. On the right here, I thought they were the same person since they were both blondes. And on the right here, you have Jamie Gustitis. So that's the other person who was killed. So this guy here, Jacob, killed his wife, and then for some reason went over to kill this Jamie broad. He shot her to death. 1 second. What are these guys? Does it say their rank? I feel like that's relevant. Anyways, whatever. He drove to the West Milton Municipal Building, parked in the safety exchange zone, and opened the truck so responding officers would find Jamie and killed himself on camera. Okay, that's a lot. Wow. Okie dokie. So he killed his wife, killed some first lieutenant, and then killed himself on camera and left the trunk open. Okay, 2 women, 2 locations, 1 night. All 3 were confirmed employees of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which, I mean, I don't know. People move around a lot in the military. Maybe that doesn't mean a lot. I don't know. It seems fishy, though. Pritchard was an acquisition project manager in AFRL Sensor Directorate. That directorate develops technologies for air and space reconnaissance, surveillance, precision engagement, and electronic warfare. Space-based sensors, the same technological pipeline that feeds the infrared detection work Grillmayer was doing at IPAC. His job was managing the advanced research programs that produce these systems. Jamie Gustitis was an operations research and analyst in the 711th Human Performance Wing, part of AFRL. She grew up in Novi, Michigan, with 3 brothers and 2 sisters. She graduated from the Air Force Academy in 2022. She earned a Master's of Science in Operations Research from the Air Force Institute of Technology. She held the top secret /SCI clearance. She specialized in mathematical and quantitative modeling for aerospace applications. She was the kind of person the Air Force spent a decade and millions of dollars building. She had been out of the academy for 3 years. Now, Jamie Pritchard, 33, worked within the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center. A finance specialist. Her family described her earning her MBA while working full-time and excelling as a mother. So, sounds like she was a civilian employee for the military is what it sounds like to me. For finance? Okay. That's not all that fishy. 3 people connected to the Air Force research apparatus. Finance specialist in life cycle management. It's actually, maybe it's not. I'm thinking like it's like the guys handle payroll. Sounds like they're handling like life management. So they said research apparatus. I don't know. I'd have to know more about what a life cycle management center. But I hear that it sounds like they're trying to find ways to like make certain things, like say especially like planes and stuff, to keep them moving. Kind of a life cycle management. But whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's not what it's for. The investigation spans 3 Ohio counties. It's being run jointly by the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, local police across Greene, Montgomery, and Miami counties, and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. AFOSI, not base security, not local PD. The Air Force's Counter Intel and Criminal Investigation Agency, the unit that handles espionage, counter intel threats, and criminal matters affecting Air Force operations. No, I don't know. I don't feel like that's all that fishy. I mean, I don't know the specifics of like jurisdiction when it comes to OSI, but I don't think it's that crazy that they would, if a member of the Air Force was killed in a bizarre murder, even if it was like off base or something, like I don't think it's that crazy that they might get involved. Months after the incident, authorities have explicitly stated they have not determined a motive. No confirmed affair, no restraining order, no documented history of domestic violence. The public record contains no explanation for why Jacob Pritchard killed the TSCI cleared operations research analyst and his own wife on a Saturday night in October. That is weird. You'd think there would be something by now. I mean, especially in the manner that he did it. You'd think you'd leave some sort of hint or something. Kind of nuts. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where Dallas Hardwick spent her career. It is the installation William Neal McCaslin commanded. It is where the government side of the Mondaloy partnership was managed. He says, here's now what we have. Every fact below is sourced and verified. Monica Jacinto Reza, inventor of Mondaloy, AFRL funded contractor. Then JPL NASA, vanished June 22nd, 2025. Jacob Pritchard, AFRL Sensors Directorate, dead October 25th, 2025. Jamie Pritchard, AFLCMC, Wright-Patterson, dead October 25th, 2025. First Lieutenant Jamie Gustitis, AFRL I missed the Jacob Pritchard, that he was part of the AFRL. My bad. So, and obviously he's married to Jamie. So I was trying to understand what the hell she did. Sounds like she had more of some sort of noner type stupid. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, because they said it was like life cycle management. It sounds like she probably was some sort of budgetary or thing or something in regards to assets. Maybe that would be my guess. What a life cycle management thing would be in the military. I could be wrong. That's just from the jargon I recall. That sounds like what they're describing. But it actually sounds like obviously her husband, who's a censors director for the AFRL, which is what, the research thing or whatever. That's a little more fishy. And a lot of these people are all connected to this AFRL. Moving on, we got Call Grillmayer, Caltech/IPAC, NeoWise Pipeline, Neo Surveyor, Instrument Characterization, shot dead February 16th, 2026. William Neal McCaslin, Farmer AFRL Commander, vanished February 27, 2026. 6 people, 9 months. Every one of them connected to the Air Force's research laboratory. It's a research laboratory. It's the AFRL, or the institutions it directly funds. AFRL is the entity that develops and transitions the most sensitive aerospace technologies in the American defense arsenal. Every name this list connects to it. Behind them in the chain sits Dallas Hardwick, Reza's mentor and co-inventor of Mondaloy. She worked at AFRL's Materials Directorate at Wright-Patterson until her retirement in 2012, according to a 2024 memorial published by the University of New South Wales. She died on January 5th, 2014, after a stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. After publication, a reader located her Ohio death certificate in state records. It confirms the UNSW count. She died at Hospice of Dayton. The certifying physician, not a coroner, signed the certificate. No investigation, no autopsy. Her death was natural. What remains unusual is the silence around it. The only U.S. record is a dignity memorial listing through Tobias Funeral Home in Dayton. Contains her name, no dates, and nothing. Her name, her dates, and nothing else. No biographical detail. No survivors. No services. Maybe she's had a depressing life. No AFRL memorial notice. No Dayton Daily News death listing. A senior civilian scientist who won the Meritorious Civilian Service Medal. Which I don't think that. I think that's a generic one that basically everybody in the military gets, if I recall. So maybe I'm wrong. It's a civilian one. The civilian service. I'm sorry. I'm still jarbled. I'm pretty sure I remember civilians getting that award too. I don't think that's anything special, but maybe I'm wrong. Spent years at one of the most prominent Air Force installations in the country, and the sum total of her domestic death record is a stub page on a funeral home aggregator in a memorial published by a university on the other side of the world a decade after she died. I mean, I don't know. If you had no family and you died in the military as some top secret something or other, I 100% believe that's... I mean, I guess she wasn't. Technically, she was like a civilian working for him, but same difference. I mean, I know when I left, I had plenty of friends whenever I got out, and it was my last day, nobody in leadership gave a fuck, nothing. So it's I don't know. Not saying, obviously it's a little bit different, but so I'm not saying point being, if I died or something, I don't know. It wouldn't be some huge thing, especially since they probably work in much smaller cells in the research world, I assume. So maybe that's not that bizarre. Maybe I'm retarded. I don't know. It says, now step back and look at what connects them. Hardwick and Reza invented the alloy. The patent is public record. It says burn-resistant and high tensile strength metal alloys, which I guess is interesting, especially if you're leaning the alien stuff, because we're always talking about back engineering stuff, and they're always talking about special alloys. I think Gates may even have said something about that too, and kind of quickly in his little thingy. But that's always something that kind of comes up in the alien conspiracy realm. It's the kind of the technology, different alloys, yada yada. So something there maybe. McCaslin commanded the laboratory that funded the alloy's maturation. The lab directed the hydrocarbon boost program and the assessment of Mondaloy for pre-burners. Thrust chambers and hydrostatic bearings. His $4.4 billion portfolio paid for the work that put Reza's metal inside American rocket engines. When he took command in May 2011, Hardwick is still one of its senior civilian scientists. All three were on the same program at the same time. That program existed for one reason. Every time the U.S. launched a spy satellite, a GPS satellite, or military comm satellite for the better part of 2 decades, it did so on a Russian engine. The RD-180, built in Moscow. Sold to America because America couldn't build its own. Congress held hearings about it. The Air Force called it an unacceptable national security vulnerability. Mondaloy was the fix, the material breakthrough that finally made a domestic replacement engine possible. The AR-1 has 12 components made of Mondaloy. Pre-burners, turbine rotors, turbine housings, every part that touches the fire. In March 2022, Russia cut off RD-180 servicing in retaliation for Ukraine sanctions. The alloy Monica Reza invented is what stands between the U.S. and a gap in its ability to put national security assets into orbit. Okay, well, shit. They are cooking with fire now. I'm not going to lie. Like, that is kind of a big fucking deal, especially where, back to my point earlier, where, like, this is... I know that's like, ooh, aliens, but it's like, maybe, sure, perhaps, but I think it's far more likely, yeah, we're in a fucking war, and this sort of stuff right here is a huge fucking deal. Like, we're getting into a, drone, sort of warfare, being intercepted by missiles, the missiles that cost, exponentially more than the drones themselves. So, I mean, we're in this, like, I don't know, technological, what am I trying to say? Anyways, whatever. Let's move on. Grillmayer connects through a different channel, but the same institution. IPAC processes data for Neo Surveyor, which is developed by JPL, which is managed by Caltech. JPL is where Reza was working when she vanished. The lab funds infrared sensing research in the same spectral bands that Grillmayer's Neo-Wise telescope operates in. Infrared detection of dark space objects is dual use. The same physics that finds asteroids tracks adversarial satellites and hypersonic weapons. The Wright-Patterson personnel worked inside the building where Hardwick spent her career, and McCaslin held command authority. The Sensors Directorate, the 711th Human Performance Wing, the same installation, the same research ecosystem. In McCaslin's command, history extends beyond Ohio. Before AFRL headquarters, he ran the Phillips Research Site at Kirtland AFB in New Mexico, home of AFRL's Directed Energy Directorate. Kirtland and LANL, 100 miles apart, share joint programs in directed energy, weapons physics, and advanced materials. The New Mexico Defense Corridor is not two separate nodes, it is one continuous pipeline. Look at the map. Reza vanished in LA County. Grillmayer was killed in LA County, both in the shadow of the JPL Caltech corridor, where America's planetary defense infrastructure is built. McCaslin vanished in Albuquerque, home of Kirtland Air Force Base and Sandia National Labs. The Wright-Patterson deaths were in Dayton. These are not random locations. They are the three geographic nodes of American defense aerospace research: Southern California, New Mexico, Ohio, the triangle where AFRL lives. At every node, the same institutional silence. JPL said nothing about Reza. I mean, I don't know. The Reza one seems weak because she died of cancer in like 2014. Where the rest of the stuff popped off in like 2025, 2026. So, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. That was the mentor, and it seems to be that's a rough one to tie in. But whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. This person's been cooking with fire, so maybe they're on to more than I am. Says the AIAA said nothing. Caltech's statement about Grillmayer said he passed away suddenly without using the word shot. Okay, now that's weird. That is weird to put a statement being he passed away suddenly when he got shot on his porch. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I could. It's more believable that like an employee could just die, especially in a small office, and maybe they just make passing reference of it, and so nothing gets like published that you could look over, or there's no like something that can be like this is a thing. They clearly put that out. But that's weird. Wright-Patterson offered counseling services in every case. The institution that lost someone chose the minimum possible disclosure. The silence is its own pattern inside the pattern. This is not a loose connection of people who happen to work in defense. This is one documented system, traceable through patent filings, congressional testimony, DTIC records, and federal contract databases. One system in 9 months, 6 of the people connected to it are dead or gone. And then here's another one. We got another one to add to this. Is a Melissa Cassius. You see her here. Looks like a kind of a pretty lady, pretty like kind of like mom vibes. Kind of pretty mom, wholesome vibes. I don't know who is this broad. Let's look at this one. Said we weren't looking for this one. A reader flagged it after we published the Green Burial. Once we verified the details, the New Mexico vertex of the triangle got heavier. Melissa Cassius, 53. Los Alamos National Laboratory employee. She vanished from Ranchos de Taos, New Mexico on June 26, 2025. So Los Alamos, that's a big one. That comes up a lot. 4 days after Reza. That morning at 6:15 a.m., she drove her husband Mark to work at LANL, that's Los Alamos. Both of them work there. She told him she was heading to another location on site and drove away. By 7:45 a.m., she was back at their home in Ranchos de Taos. She told her daughter Sierra she'd forgotten her security clearance badge and would work from home. Sierra didn't question the time, but another family member later told KOB it didn't add up. She couldn't have forgotten her badge because they got into labs and she was driving. Think about what that means. If she drove through the LANL security gate, she would have needed her badge to enter. Then she told her daughter the opposite. The family's question is a sourced one, and NMSP has not addressed it publicly. Around 12:50 p.m., she brought Sierra a sandwich at a cafe in Taos Plaza. Normal, quiet. Then she was last seen in surveillance footage walking alone eastbound on NM 518, carrying a backpack heading toward the Carson National Forest. When Sierra came home from work, the car was in the driveway. The front door was locked. Inside, her mother's keys, wallet, purse, personal phone, and government-issued LANL work phone. Both phones had been factory reset. Cassius was not just an administrative assistant. Department of Energy records confirmed she served on the Northern New Mexico Citizens Advisory Board for Environmental Management, Los Alamos, through 2022 and 2023. Participating in official DOE meetings on legacy radioactive waste remediation, environmental monitoring, and federal cleanup budgets at the nuclear weapons facility. Okay. Where she worked, her name is an official correspondence, the DOE field office manager. She sat in rooms where sensitive facility data was discussed. Los Alamos National Laboratory is 100 miles north of Kirtland Air Force Base, where McCaslin once committed operations. LANL and AFRL share extensive programmatic overlap in advanced materials, directed energy, and weapons physics. The New Mexico Defense Corridor runs through Albuquerque, through Santa Fe to Los Alamos. McCaslin vanished from one end, Cassius vanished from the other. The New Mexico State Police investigation remains open and active. No breakthroughs have been reported since August 2025. She's still classified as missing, endangered. She has been found. Well, let's hope they find her. We are not yet asserting Cassius belongs in the same list as the AFRL cluster. Her role was administrative, not scientific. The family believes she left voluntarily under severe personal and financial stress. That theory is plausible, but does not explain the badge discrepancy her own family flagged on camera, or why she left a secure nuclear facility under a disputed pretext, or why she successfully factory reset a government-managed device before walking into the wilderness. It does not explain what happened 4 days after Monica Reza did the same thing from a ridge line 800 miles away. Okay. And now they're going into this other thing about this thing about the Marconi scientists, which let's see how long that is. So we want to get into that. Yeah, fuck it. Let's get through it. It's pretty short, a little bit. Let's read up on what the Marconi scientists, because I guess this is some sort of historical example that kind of is similar such situation. We got these, I guess, Vimal Dajibai, you can see here. We got Arshad Sharif right here, Keith Bowden right here, Alistair Beckham, John Ferry, and John Whiteman. So what the Marconi scientists taught us: between 1982 and 1990, approximately 25 British scientists and engineers connected to GEC Marconi died under suspicious circumstances. Most worked on the Stingray torpedo project or strategic defense initiative related programs. One tied to a rope to a tree and accelerated his car, decapitating himself. Holy shit, that is brutal. Another loaded his vehicle with petrol cans and drove into a building. A third was found with a plastic bag over his head, ruled sexual misadventure. Well, I mean, whoever Glowies were doing this, we're having fun with it seems. Getting creative. Each death had an explanation. UK Ministry of Defense maintained the deaths were unrelated. And Mr. acknowledged it was odd that all were computer scientists working in the defense field, but said there any relationship stops. No centralized investigation was ever conducted. The cases were never solved. The structural architecture is the same as what we are documenting now. Defense-connected individuals, anomalous circumstances, individual explanations that individually satisfy, and an institutional posture that structurally prevents pattern recognition by distributing the cases across jurisdictions that never talk to each other. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Homicide Bureau has Reza. Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have McCaslin. LA County Sheriff's Homicide Bureau has Grillmare. Ohio BCI, AFOSI, and 3 county police agencies have the Wright Patterson triple. New Mexico State Police has Cassius. Norfolk County DA has a Laredo. 6 separate jurisdictions. 0 cross-referencing mandate. Nobody is looking at this list as a list. Put a little note on Laredo, which I don't think we mentioned him, but we covered this guy on our show back in the day, but I guess they're kind of roughly connecting him in here. It says, we include Nuno Laredo with a clear caveat. His connection to this pattern is weaker. He was not employed by AFRL, JPL, or any of the contractors in the Mondaloy chain. He was a plasma physicist and fusion scientist at MIT. The overlap is indirect. MIT's plasma science and fusion center conducts research that touches classified defense portfolios in directed energy and advanced propulsion. McCaslin's board seat at Riverside Research encompasses plasma physics. The connection exists, but is institutional proximity, not a documented funding chain. What makes God, this name's hard to say. Laredo, I always want to say Laredo case worth flagging is the killer. Claudio Neves Valente planned the operation for at least 3 years. Burner phones, no credit card usage, a pre-staged storage unit in New Hampshire maintained since approximately 2022. In a mass shooting at Brown University 2 days before the targeted killing in Brookline that possibly buried a precision hit in the noise of a spree attack. Accessible public records show no foreign intelligence connections, no travel to Russia or China, and no financial anomalies. His stated motive was personal grievance. We are not asserting Laredo belongs in the AFRL cluster. We are noting that within the same 9-month window, another defense-adjacent physicist was killed by a perpetrator whose operational planning exceeded what personal grievance typically produces. The reader can decide what to do with that. What we are not saying these deaths were coordinated. We are not saying a foreign intelligence service is assassinating American scientists. We are not saying the perpetrators were directed by anyone. Here is what we are saying. Every word of it is documented. The entire chain of human expertise between a strategic national security technology, the alloy enabling American independence from Russian rocket engines, has been broken. The inventor is gone. The commander is gone. The mentor is dead. Every person who held the complete institutional memory of how Mondaloy went from a laboratory curiosity to a flight-qualified engine component has been removed from the system. At the same installation where the alloy was qualified, 3 more of the lab employees died in a single night, and the motive has never been established. At the institution that processes data for America's planetary defense infrastructure, an astronomer was shot dead by a man whose prior arrest on that same property was dismissed 11 days before the killing. At America's premier nuclear weapons laboratory, an employee who sat on a DOE advisory board drove onto the campus, told her daughter she'd forgotten her badge despite apparently using it that morning, wiped her government phone, and walked into the wilderness 4 days after Reza did the same thing 800 miles away. 5 of the 9 names in this briefing are women. Of the 3 who vanished without a trace, 2 are women and both share identical signatures. Belongings left behind, digital trails severed, no body recovered. Reza and Cassius generated search and rescue. McCaslin generated FBI and cable news. If you were selecting targets to minimize the speed and scale of the institutional response, you would choose accordingly. Each case on its own has an explanation or an open investigation. The cluster does not. No entity is examining these incidents as a cluster. The cases were distributed across 6 jurisdictions, 3 states, and at least 8 investigative agencies. The structural architecture of the response guarantees that no one will ever see the list unless someone builds it. We just build it. So, big ups. So I think we'll probably kill it there. They have a little bit of kind of a epilogue here that I'm not gonna go into. But this is the Sentinel briefing. Once again, since we did kind of take all this, so just to give them ups one more time. I know that was a lot, but I think it was worthwhile. There's interesting stuff. The Sentinel Network, at the Sentinel Network on what is it, Substack? So actually, never mind. This isn't Substack. Is this Substack? I thought this was Substack for some reason, but it's thesentinel.network/p/the long count or whatever. Whatever. You guys can figure it out. I think if you just type that into Google, it'll probably pop up. I'm not sure exactly the platform. Looks like Substack to me. But let's go ahead and get back into the chat. Say hello. Goodbye. Probably going to bring this to an end. I think I did not leave enough time to bite off another segment. So we'll probably save that for tomorrow. The foreign domestic influence networks. So let's roll the chat. Say your goodbyes and get out of here. Make sure you're hitting that like button, all that good stuff, and let's roll the chat. You got Bugfire says, I believe none of this. I guess I don't know what's to believe. I don't think they made any crazy claims. They just said what they're working. Maybe they could have been lying and made that all up. That'd be pretty nuts. Oh, you're talking about the alien stuff from earlier. I'm retarded. Good morning, Chris says, hey, what's up, Jose? Good morning. Tower Gang NPC, good morning from Maine. Working in skiing. I didn't know you were in Maine, or maybe I did and forgot it. I think I've told you before, I was born in Maine. I lived there until my sophomore year of high school. I moved halfway through my sophomore year of high school. I went to Bangor Christian School. Was it BCS? Yeah. So in Bangor. So I don't know where you're at, but hell yeah, Maine. You don't see a lot of Mainers. So yep. Grew up in Dover Foxcroft. Was born in Dover Foxcroft. Grew up in Sebec, which is I think technically Sebec was part of Dover Foxcroft. I don't even think it was technically its own. It was like a township, so I don't even think it was or whatever those things that are below a town where it's not even considered a town. But anyways, let's keep moving. Good morning, Murder, Death, Kill. Love the name, especially. We were just talking about Murder, Death, Kill. Boomer, Sooner just farted, guys. Oh, Gerald says, has Jose talked about the 22 Freemasons that were arrested for assassinating labor organizers? No, I keep hearing people mention it, but I've not seen it cross my feed at all. I've seen people mention it in podcasts and stuff briefly. Astoundingly, it has not shown up in my feed at all. And so if any of you guys find it, you happen across anything, please tag me in that stuff, because that is totally something I would like to cover on this show. We can dig into that in one of these days. But yeah, definitely tag me in that if you can. If anyone sees that out there. Tom33 is talking about how he used to be not far from there. The base, one of the bases, I'm not sure which. We mentioned a few different bases. Maybe he says, asked ton of people work at the base, a lot of tech shit going on there. My electrician buddy did a job on the base. They searched his work van every day, and he wasn't allowed to know what he was working on. You're probably talking about Patterson. I think that's the one they were there. What the hell just happened over there? Okay, I'm sorry. It looked like my screen glitched or something. All right, let's go back to keep going through the chat. Good morning, user. This is Australia reporting boats, cars, trucks, engines shutting down from water now mixed by gas companies. Okay, that they're trying to water down the gas and it's not working. Well, that sucks. Yeah, that's a little gasflation for you there. So that's wonderful. Tom says, I know a guy who was a chemist at Los Alamos and he's a tard, LMAO. Yeah, I bet you a lot of the chemist jobs are probably just kind of do this, do that. Probably just wrote shit, unless he was a scientist. Well, I guess you say he was a chemist. I don't know. I'm talking on my ass. Maybe he was an idiot. Good morning, Honda Rider says Thibodeau was also from Bangor, Maine. Yeah, that was Thibodeau. Yeah, that was one of the why am I struggling with this? Not Ruby Ridge. One of the Waco survivors. He was one of the Waco. He was a Branch Davidian, right? I believe. Yep. Good morning or goodbye, Filthy Pete, and good morning. I think it's their first time popping in there. Tom saying it was Wright Patterson that was around him. He said, heard lots of crazy stories from old machinists about the weapon systems built in Dayton, says Miamisburg. Well, all right, guys, that's the show for today. I mean, that was a lot to throw at you. I know, but I think it was an interesting little dig, and hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. Now, if you like what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and Twitter as well. On Twitter, that's at Tower Gang Jose. Everywhere else, it's the No Way Jose podcast. So just search No Way Jose and wherever you're listening or watching the show. And if you want to support the show the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2, and it does exist. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about in the chat. It does exist, and that's where you get access to early episodes. I try to keep about 1 to 2 of those behind the paywall I try to do 1 to 2 of those every week. I try to keep about 3 to 4 behind the paywall at any given time. Also give you guys access to ad-free RSS feed. Give you guys access to Telegram. Give you access to pre-show, post-show, and video calls on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Are You Dead?, which is on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Just did one last night. Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of great calls. Hung out with the patrons. Great time. Really enjoyed it. I really love how that show is developing, and I look forward to see where it goes. And I also give a big shout out to the highest level, which is my sponsors, as a big thank you. My highest level, my Patreon, which is my sponsors, is a big thank you for their support. I have my previous coach entire gang, at Learned Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at COVRCK, at _Vazil, Tim Tuttle, at Jolin Cleeple, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Texas, One Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob Wintergrad of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. With that, guys, we're going to get out of here. We do have an outro for you that I think you guys will get a good kick out of. And I will see you guys tomorrow on another morning dump, unless something crazy happens, but I should be here around 11, around the same time, 11 noonish, give or take. So I'll see you guys there. Here's a Tucker Carlson joke that I thought was particularly wonderful. So let's watch this, and I think it kind of speaks a little bit to who the fuck is this guy. So let's watch this.
He's such a good actor, but then when you listen to him do his pod, so he'll be talking about this stuff about like Israel, and it's a genocide. The United Nations say it's a genocide. The International Criminal Court says it's a genocide. So it's a genocide. And then he'll do an ad for porridge, and it'll be the exact same level of intensity. He'll just go
every morning.
No,
AG1 from Athletic Greens.
He goes, a lot of our food is being infected. This is just a fact. I'm not making it up. It's being filled with Islamic sugar that's making us sick and ruining us. But Pilgrim's Porridge, they actually care. They care about what they're doing. They want you to be healthy, of course, because they love America.
American podcast ad reads are terrifying.
It's so crazy because he'll be talking about something that's so important and profound and be like, as Christians, we don't kill children. And this is something that's wrong. It's always been wrong, and it's still wrong.
It's extremely important. And almost as important as the most important meal of the day. Breakfast.
Pilgrim's Porridge